Thursday night was a heartbreaker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After controlling most of the game, they collapsed in the final moments, losing a crucial lead. But what happened next showed Baker Mayfield's true leadership. Instead of letting the pressure break the team, he stepped up, took the blame, and sent a powerful message to the locker room. Could this be the moment that turns the season around? Let's dive into what went wrong and why Baker's response could be the key to bouncing back. Thursday night was nothing short of a crushing blow for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Despite dominating much of the game, they fell apart in the final moments of the fourth quarter. With under 3 minutes remaining, Bucky Irving was powering towards a game-clinching first down when Jessie Bates knocked the ball loose and recovered it, sealing the Bucs' fate. The Falcons didn't score on the next drive, but preventing the Bucs from doing so proved to be the game's turning point. Atlanta used the momentum to tie the game with a field goal, and then ensured Tampa Bay never regained possession. It was a heartbreaking defeat with the full consequences still unfolding. Unlike their loss to Denver, this time the Bucs let victory slip away, dropping them out of first place in the NFC South. Next week, they face a challenging game against a determined Saints team. But Baker Mayfield is already focused on keeping the team's mindset steady. Baker Mayfield took responsibility for the Buccaneers' Week 5 loss to the Falcons. After the defeat, he stepped up and accepted the blame, even though he wasn't the reason the Bucs lost. He faced the criticism head-on, shielding his teammates in the locker room from taking any of the heat. Baker was asked about how he felt about personally having a good game and used it to send a message to the team. All I care about is wins, and that's it. So we gotta find a way to finish that game out on the fence, Baker said. I'm thinking about missing that shot to Sterling Shepard. It should have been a touchdown, and we ended up with 3 points. I'm just replaying that one over in my head where maybe it shouldn't have been an overtime situation. We've often discussed Baker Mayfield's maturity and leadership, but moments like this show why he's worth every penny. It would have been easy for him to deflect blame, especially considering the defense gave up over 500 yards to Kirk Cousins and couldn't hold firm in the final minutes of the game. Baker did something similar to what he did after the loss to Denver. By stepping up and taking the blame, even when it wasn't warranted, he's sending a message to the team that there's a bigger goal beyond just a Week 5 game. This kind of loss can't be allowed to linger and lead to a series of bad performances, as has happened to the Bucs in the past. Last season, Tampa Bay hit a rough patch with a 1-6 midseason slump, but it was Baker who helped them bounce back. He's attempting to do the same now, and it's a message the team needs after how things ended on Thursday. More news. Falcons versus Buccaneers score. Takeaways. Kirk Cousins erupts for 500 yards, 4 TDs as Atlanta prevails in the Falcons edged out the Buccaneers in overtime on Thursday Night Football, winning 36-30 with a game-winning touchdown pass from Kirk Cousins to Cotterill Hodge, who filled in for the injured Drake London. The Buccaneers held a 30-27 lead with just 1 second left. But Falcons kicker Younghoe Koo nailed a 52-yard field goal to send the game into overtime. Both teams now have a 3-2 record, with the Falcons leading a closely contested NFC South. Both offenses performed well, with quarterbacks Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield leading the way. Cousins, in his first year with the Falcons and returning from an Achilles injury, looked as comfortable as ever this season. He completed 42 of 58 passes, setting a career high with 509 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Before forcing overtime in dramatic fashion as regulation ended, the Falcons had an earlier opportunity to tie the game with just under 7 minutes left. But Koo's 54-yard field goal attempt was blocked, allowing the Buccaneers to maintain their 30-27 lead. However, the Falcons' defense stepped up when it mattered most, with Jessie Bates 3 forcing a fumble that Caden Ellis recovered with just under 3 minutes remaining. Just as the Falcons' defense stepped up when required, the Buccaneers' defense also rose to the occasion, forcing a 4th and 15 situation for Atlanta's offense. The Falcons' decision to attempt it backfired, as Levante David read the play well and intercepted Cousins. The Bucs needed to run down the final 144 on the clock, but failed to do so, allowing the Falcons one last opportunity to either extend the game or secure a victory. They managed to use only 30 seconds before punting, ultimately leading to Koo's field goal that sent the game into overtime. Atlanta opened the second half with a touchdown as Cousins connected with wide receiver Darnell Mooney for a 12-yard pass, tying the game at 27 as the fourth quarter began. The first half featured only one punt, which was by the Falcons, and concluded with the Buccaneers leading 24-17 after the 10-minute mark in the second quarter. Tampa Bay did not fall behind until the game's final moments. The Buccaneers are set to travel to New Orleans for another divisional game, this time facing the Saints, while the Falcons aim to build on their victory against the Carolina Panthers next week. Below are the key takeaways from an exhilarating Thursday night matchup, along with a recap of this thrilling game in the live blog.